Hi, up in this side. So today we're going to talk about the pre-sold leads, as you know by the title of this video. So before I talk about any further about pre-sold leads, I just want to let you know that what I used to consider is there's leads and there's clients. There's nothing in between. Hence, I used to look at marketing and selling to be two different units. Uh, I used to consider content, your stories, your emails as your marketing activities, and your selling in the DMs, or you can call it as outbound as well as sales calls as your marketing as well as your selling unit. So I always used to consider those two as a two different things. So there's nothing ever cross came to my mind as pre-sold leads. So I always used to believe, okay, I have to get leads, get their email addresses, and nurture them to make them a client. That was the process altogether. Now, I don't know about you, but when you consider as two your marketing and selling to be two different units, there's a huge problem because you always find yourself, trying to convince someone, push someone, and kind of doing cheesing, like more about follow-ups, and you feel like why I'm getting ghosted. Because it was me back then that I was always finding myself putting in a lot of effort and time in order to, perfect my DM scripts, my follow-up scripts to make sure I do the best out of my time that I have when I have it for selling part. So that was a big challenge for me. So yes, no matter how much I try, perfecting my sales mechanisms and systems and all that stuff, I always used to find myself chasing people, believing in the fact that I need sales calls to close these clients in a high ticket deal. But that's not true. You don't even need a sales call when the leads are pre-sold, right? So if you're in my stage right now, right, you believe that you need a sales call to close these high ticket deals. That's not your fault because you've been conditioned to think like that, the way I was. Because pre-sold leads, they don't need sales calls. They already know who you are. They just need the next step, you know. But we have looked into the marketplace and we have seen big guys, big entrepreneurs, influencers. They all, or even if you look at your nearby neighborhood, you'll see the real estate agent closing big properties using phone, right? Or even you'll see like your favorite coach or influencer out there selling their high ticket offers using a sales calls. So that's completely normal. You've been conditioned to think like that, and hence you believed, okay, I need to make sure no matter what kind of an offer I have, no matter what kind of lead I have, it's all on us to get on that sales call over the phone and trying to convince that person, to buy from us. So that's how it is. So we didn't get the time to kind of think about it or kind of re-engineer our thoughts to kind of figuring out, okay, what's the real fault in it. So if you're in the same place, if you haven't get the time to actually work on your thoughts and try to get the thing out of your brain, you might see these as a consequences in your business right now. So if I can share my screen, these are the consequences you can see of not pre-selling your leads. Okay. You get low quality leads or you attract freebie seekers. So freebie seekers are those people who are already there to send their emails easily without a shadow of doubt. But when it comes to purchasing or having a real conversation with you as a coach, as a lead, they ghost you. So those are the freebie seekers. Number two, we have attract people who compare prices before making a decision. So I don't know about you, but if you're on a sales call, you might see people giving you an objection, letting you know, hey, Arpan, I liked your offer, but I'm not sure is this what I'm going to go for because I have also spoken with X number of coaches. So I'll sit down and see which is the best for me. So those are what I call the comparisons. I don't like comparisons and people who compare you with the other coach while they're on a sales call or whatever they're on. Those are not the right people to work with. And your pre-sold leads will never ever treat you like that. Number three, you're going to attract people asking for proof and guarantees. These are another consequences. They always say, show me your proof or get me to get on a call with one of your clients. I need to talk to them to see how you actually help them. They are the blamers, I promise you. Number four, you'll always get this common objection, which is, I'll think about it. I'm sure you have got this objection multiple times. Then you're gonna find yourself forcing into the sales call, maybe giving away a crazy guarantee or something to try to convince the prospect to buy, but you'll find yourself, cheesing, and the conversion that is not going to feel like aligned, and hence we're going to call this forced conversion, which is the reason why you get unaligned clients. Unaligned clients are not the right clients to work with because it's pain in your backside, I promise you. And as a result of that, they don't take action, they don't do whatever they that you tell them to do. Hence they don't get results, and they I who I call them blamers. They, you get blamers and they quit your program, they don't stay with you, and it's not a nice thing to do, working with them. So here's the real issue, guys, because you're looking at your marketing and your selling as two different units. To be good at selling, you dive deep into the DMs and sales calls. But 90% of the sales, it happens even before that. It happens even before you send your first message. So your positioning, your messaging, and your content is where your selling should start. Now, if you look into this page, I have a diagram which shows you like 5 different awareness levels, right? The unaware phase, the problem aware phase, solution aware, product aware, and you aware. I don't know about you, what you're doing right now, but what I see in this today's marketplace that most coaches teaches their clients to market at unaware and problem aware phase. But if you're trying to market the unaware phase, it's real pain in the backside because they're not even aware of the problem right now. So you have to spend a lot of time and effort to first convince them that, hey, you have a problem. Next, once they think, okay, I know now I have a problem, then you have to kind of convince them that, hey, I have a solution for you because you already have a problem. So it's kind of pushing the person to say, okay, I have a problem. Now I know the solution, so this might be the right person for me. And you do all of that on the sales call because you're not talking to a pre-sold lead in this case. Whereas if you're looking at the second stage where most like 90% of the coaches market to this phase, which is the problem aware phase. Now these are the guys who know they have a problem, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to show them that, hey, whatever you're thinking right now is a problem, isn't a problem. This is your problem. So you're trying to kind of break their belief, which is a good thing, but not in the right way to do it. This is not the right way because so if you're following this mechanism, you'll always find yourself chasing a person, trying to convince that person, when they're on a sales call with you. And again, as I mentioned, that's not your fault because that's how you're treating your messaging, that's how you're positioning yourself, and that's how you're looking at your marketing and selling, two different units, as I mentioned earlier. So you have to first need to understand what is a pre-sold lead. That's very, very important. A pre-sold lead is someone, who's already sold into you. Not only you, your ideas, your mechanisms, your philosophies, they trust you more than they trust themselves. That's the right word for it. Because if they believe in your ideas, your program becomes just the next step for them. And that's what the pre-sold lead is for. You want to guide them, move forward, and make sure they're aware right now that what needs to happen in their life to move forward and how to move forward. That's very, very important. And the way to get that in terms of talking to the awareness levels, you need to market to the solution aware phase because these are best prospects to look at because they know they have a problem and they're already working towards it. It's not that they're validating their own problem as the problem aware phase does, audience does. So in this case, they're aware of the problem and they know the solution and they're working towards the solution. And your job as a coach here is to shift their belief and tell them, hey, whatever the solution you're working towards, that's fine. Here's my unique way to get there, and that actually creates a shift because people don't buy the outcome alone, they buy the path, like how they're going to get to that outcome. So if their problem, they know that is okay, lead gen is one problem, and they're following the outdated method of outbound DMs or whatever that is, sales calls. And if you can teach your own unique way, that the way I do it is I teach the pre-sold model that allows someone to get inbound leads into the DMs without them reaching out to their clients. So that's a unique way to get the same results. And that actually creates the perfect shift, the belief shift, and that gets you the pre-sold leads, and that's inbound leads, which I'm talking about. And once you create the shift, they see your big idea, they see your philosophy. And if they like it, they'll say, yes, I like it. And again, they see your next content, which again, let's say pushes them towards your another big idea. So they say again another yes. So these small micro yeses, compile up. This compiles up and gets them to say, this is the right person for me, and that's how you get pre-sold inbound leads. So it's all about stacking those micro yeses through the small belief shift that you're doing through your content, let's say, targeting that solution awareness phase. So instead of you trying to sell harder and push harder and in your DMs and your sales calls, why don't you introduce a system that allows you to do that? That's what I call the pre-sold system. So if you look at my screen right now, it says, so instead of trying to sell harder in the DMs, build a system that sells for you before they even reach out. That's what the pre-sale system is all for. And it has four jobs, literally four jobs, nothing more. The first one is it attracts active buyers. Number two, it builds certainty with those buyers with your belief alignment that you create. Number three, it pushes people to the conversion point. And number four, it makes it easy, like protect safety, makes it easy landing platform for them to reach out to you. So your pre-sale system needs to do these four jobs literally, nothing else. Now, if I talk about each of them right now, as you can see, attract active buyers. We do that using the disrupt content, the shift piece of content that you post every day, attacking those solution aware prospects. Okay. The job is to shift their belief. Next, you build certainty, not only with how you change someone's belief, but also changing someone's attitude. Let me explain that. So if you scroll down, it says, belief shapes attitude, attitudes shape behavior. Okay, like belief is how someone thinks, and attitude is how someone feels, and behavior is how someone does a particular job. Okay, so every belief shift, not only one belief shift can change someone's attitude. Like all this, you shift people's belief and you collect those micro yeses, and those micro yeses compiles up together and kind of change someone like how they feel about that thing. So it changes their attitude, and if you can change their attitude, I promise you the behavior will also change soon. Let me give an example to make it easy for you to understand. So if you look at my screen right now, so we have strangers, okay, and we have inbound leads. Let's say your pre-sold leads here in this case. So we have three columns: belief shift, which is changing the belief. Then we have changed their attitude and have changing the behavior. So if someone doesn't know you, okay, for example, and let's say if I kind of posting content consistently on social media on how to sell without sales calls. So for a stranger's perspective, they look at my content, they might think, oh, okay, there's a new way to close high ticket deals. That's it. Did I change someone's belief right now through the content for a stranger right now? No. They just saw an opinion. They thought, okay, there might be a way to do that. All good. Number two, if uh, if I have to change their attitude right now, since I've not got the opportunity to change their belief at the first go, so the how the attitude behave right now is they feel, okay, I like this idea, but that, selling without sales call, but I'm not there yet. So I think I should continue with what I'm doing, and that's completely normal because that's what strangers say. No matter how good the thing they see for the first time, it doesn't make sense for them. So their attitude also doesn't change. Hence, their behavior also doesn't change. So they continue with the sales calls. So that's how a stranger performs or behaves looking at your content for the first time. And if that particular stranger, collects those micro yeses for a while and they become an inbound lead, this is how they're going to react. So look, talking about the belief shift, they might see your content and say, okay, this I see there's a new way to close high ticket sales without sales call. That's good. Now, if they're continuously seeing that they're collecting those micro yeses, now their attitude will also change. Now instead of saying, I'm not there right now, they might think, okay, let's give it a try. So they might say, I'm tired of doing sales calls, I'm busy, doing the follow-ups and chasing. I like this idea, it resonates with me, so I can see this working for me. So there's a change in attitude, and once they change their attitude, their behavior changes. So then what they do is they reach out to you as an inbound lead. So then they say, I trust his ideas. This is the new way of living. I would love to enjoy my life or business like this, like the way he teaches. So that's when they reach out to you. That's a perfect example of an pre-sold inbound lead. So your job as a coach here would be to change their belief, to shift their belief multiple times to get those micro yeses. And once you do that, those micro yes compiles up and that changes their attitude, and that does the rest of the things for you. That does the selling for you. That's how you get the inbound leads. So we do that with building certainty over time using the content. Okay. Next, we have the conversion point, which is a resource that you want all your audience to see even before you talk about your offer. So I get inbound leads who reach out to me and say, hey, Arpan, I would like to work with you. And I don't just tell them to book a call with me, and I don't just sell my offer directly in the DMs. It's really important for them to understand how I operate, what are my values, philosophies, and mechanisms, more importantly my IPs. So what I need to do is I basically send them a video, a resource, which is my mini VSL. That's what I call the conversion point. And I need to make sure someone needs to go through the video completely before we proceed further. So I always say, even if you want to work with me right now, I cannot take you until unless you watch this video. Okay, so that's the first step. That's your conversion point. That does the selling for you. So now they're educated on you, more importantly. And lastly, as we have Protect Safety, which is about the safe DM flow that sells without sales calls, literally. So once someone goes to the resource, your conversion point resource, now they're already sold into you. Now it's all about asking them one two questions to see if they're right fit. And again, this time, as I told you, DMs are very difficult. People always have their guards up. So we need to make sure we are creating a safe stage for them, a safe platform for them to open up and get to know more about us, our program, and we can move the conversation forward. So that safe DM flow that we create here is actually makes them feel safe, and the conversion happens literally in the DMs alone using a simple offer doc. So again, when you engineer the belief alignment at every stage, which is all about changing the belief at every stage of your marketing, you don't need to nurture people for months or convince them to buy. Pre-selling happens automatically, believe me. Now, in order to execute this entire pre-selling framework, as I showed you here, pre-selling system, we actually have a pre-selling toolkit. It consists of 6 things. Okay, now before I explain this, if you want to know exactly what kind of content to create to kind of get inbound leads, click somewhere here on my screen. You might see an I button, which shows you a video that's going to show you exactly how to get inbound leads through your content, creating that shift content. So that's where I'm going to talk about attracting active buyers. Cool. Okay, getting back here. So your pre-selling toolkit consists of 6 things. Number 1 is a disrupt content, where you are shifting people's belief using your big ideas. Number 2, proof vault. So this is actually is a kind of an ammunition that works along with the content. So this is like, I always have the tendency to collect proofs, no matter from my clients, my personal proofs, and I always, take a screenshot of that and put that into the content piece. Next, the VSL, which is an extension of your content. So every piece of content that you're putting out, you need to have an extended version, which is my conversion point video, by the way. Okay. So all your content that you're putting out on Instagram or your LinkedIn, on your socials, uh, the VSL, the conversion point, is an extension of all of that. It includes all the mechanisms, it includes all the big ideas to make sure your prospects are getting pre-sold into that video first. So that's really, really important. Next, the reason why now library, this is again really, really important, that this is an authentic and urgency that you create without creating, without any hype actually. So there's a library that we follow to create the call to action that we use in our content to make them aware of the scenario right now. As I always make sure that I tell people that if you like to buy today, you might not be able to because my wait list is not always open. So accordingly, we act accordingly. Next is the DM flow, which protects the both sides, of course, and it qualifies if they're right fit for you or not. And lastly, the offer doc, which is your silent salesperson, as it says. So it's a Google Doc or a PDF that you can use to sell them over in this particular phase of protecting safety. Okay. So once you find the right fit using the DM flow, that's when I send the offer doc, not before that. All right. So marketing and selling are indifferent. Your ecosystem is your quiet salesperson. Just focus on that part. So here are some proofs of the inbound leads that I get. More importantly, I call them pre-sold leads too, because these are the people who are always there, always want to work with me. But it's my responsibility to make sure they're aware of the entire thing about my program, about my business, about my life, my philosophies, and my ideas. So I send them to the conversion point, which does the pre-selling. So content alone doesn't work. That particular conversion point alone doesn't work. So the content, like all the toolkits that I showed you, like each of them won't be able to get you pre-sold leads. These are single elements of the entire system that you need to have to make it function properly. All right. So these are the leads that you get, like all inbound leads. Even I have a lead who said, I binged all your videos last night and I already know I want to work with you. Isn't it amazing? So that's all about getting pre-sold leads. And you do that by not considering your marketing and selling to different units. Your selling starts from your marketing. Your selling starts from your content. That's really, really clear. Okay. So again, if you want to know exactly how I create content that gets me inbound leads, click somewhere here on the screen. You'll see an I button might be popping out that shows you exactly how I attract inbound leads in the DMs without sales calls.